The Vanguard moved silently through the void, the improvised cloaking field masking its presence as the anomaly drifted behind them. The crew remained tense, aware that the danger had not passed. Though the ship was hidden, their fuel reserves were draining rapidly, and the cloaking system wouldn't hold forever. Captain Marik stood on the bridge, watching the distorted shapes of the stars through the flickering energy field. They had escaped for now, but the shadows were still out there, and they were hunting. "How long can we maintain this cloak, Zora?" Marik asked, her voice calm despite the urgency in the air. Zora glanced at her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Not long, Captain. We're burning through reserves fast. At best, we have an hour before the system starts to fail." Marik nodded grimly. "That should be enough. Helm, keep us on course away from the anomaly. Minimum warp. I want to put as much distance between us and that thing as possible." Voss, who had been monitoring the sensors, stepped forward. His mechanical eyes glowed faintly as he scanned the data. "Captain, I've been analyzing the patterns of the anomaly. It's not just following us. It's searching. It knows we're out here, but it can't see us." Marik's stomach churned. "What does that mean?" Voss's face remained impassive. "It means that whatever these shadows are, they're aware of ships entering their territory. They react to energy signatures, anything that disrupts the void. If we stay quiet, we might avoid detection for now, but eventually we'll need to confront them." A silence fell over the bridge as the weight of his words sank in. They could hide for a while, but sooner or later, the Vanguard would run out of power, and when the cloak failed, they would be exposed. "Captain," Tori Lenka's voice came from the comm station, breaking the silence. "I've been analyzing the transmission from the Odyssey again. There's something strange, something I didn't notice before." Marik turned, intrigued. "Go on." Tori tapped a few keys, bringing the distorted transmission back on the view screen. The audio crackled with static, the desperate voice of the Odyssey's crew echoing through the room once more. "This is the Starship Odyssey. If anyone can hear this, we are under attack. Unknown vessels. Repeat, unknown vessels. Closing in. We need assistance. Please, someone." But this time, as the transmission faded, Tori adjusted the frequency, revealing another layer beneath the static, a faint, distorted signal. "I think it's another message," Tori explained, her eyes wide with curiosity. "It's hidden beneath the distress call, like someone was trying to communicate without being detected." Marik leaned closer, her mind racing. "Can you clean it up?" Tori nodded, working quickly to isolate the hidden message. As the layers of static peeled away, a new voice emerged, calm, measured, and unlike anything they had heard before. "If you are hearing this, you have entered the void. We are the Sentinels. The shadows are coming. You must find the beacon or perish." Marik's breath caught in her throat. The Sentinels? The shadows? This was bigger than they had imagined. Whoever these Sentinels were, they knew about the shadows, and they were offering a way out. "Zora," Marik said, her voice sharp with urgency, "can you track that signal? Find the source?" Zora's fingers flew over the controls, her eyes narrowing as she concentrated. "The signal's weak, but I'm getting a trace. It's coming from deep within the sector, farther than we've gone." "Then that's where we're heading," Marik decided, her voice resolute. "Helm, adjust course to the source of the signal. Full warp as soon as we're clear of the anomaly's range." Voss stepped forward, his eyes fixed on Marik. "Captain, if we pursue this signal, we may be walking directly into the heart of their territory." Marik met his gaze, unflinching. "We don't have a choice. If the Sentinels know how to defeat the shadows, then we need to find them. It's the only way we survive this." Voss nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "Then we'll be ready." The Vanguard slipped quietly through space, its cloaking field flickering as the energy reserves dwindled. Tension was thick on the bridge as the crew prepared for what lay ahead. Whatever they found at the source of the signal, it would either save them or doom them. "We're approaching the edge of the anomaly's range," Zora reported, her voice strained from the intensity of the last few hours. "Cloaking field is on its last legs." "Understood," Marik said. "Helm, engage full warp. Let's get out of here." With a surge of power, the Vanguard shot forward, the starboard side streaking into lines as the ship entered warp. The anomaly receded behind them, its dark tendrils stretching but unable to follow. For the first time in what felt like hours, the crew exhaled. "We're clear," Voss said, his voice carrying a note of relief. "The anomaly is no longer tracking us." Marik nodded, feeling the tension in her shoulders ease, though only slightly. They had escaped for now, but they weren't out of danger. The shadows were still out there, lurking, waiting for the moment their prey let its guard down. "How long until we reach the source of the signal?" she asked, turning to Zora. "At full warp, we should arrive in a few hours," Zora replied. "The signal is still weak, but it's growing stronger as we approach." Marik took a deep breath. "Good. Everyone, take a moment to rest if you can. We'll need all our strength for whatever comes next." The crew dispersed, though the air remained thick with anticipation. Marik stayed on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the stars ahead. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading straight into a trap. But if the Sentinels held the key to stopping the shadows, it was a risk she had to take. Hours later, the Vanguard dropped out of warp, the swirling light of faster-than-light travel giving way to the cold darkness of deep space. In the distance, a faint glow appeared, a beacon, pulsating slowly, like the heartbeat of a dying star. "There," Voss said, pointing to the view screen. "That's the source of the signal." Marik stood, her heart pounding. "Bring us in closer. I want to know what we're dealing with." As the Vanguard approached the beacon, the crew could see it more clearly, an ancient, towering structure floating in the void. It was clearly of alien origin, its design unfamiliar, yet somehow comforting. It was as if the beacon had been waiting for them. "Captain," Zora said, her voice filled with awe, "I'm detecting a massive energy field surrounding the beacon. It's like a shield, protecting it from the outside." "Can we get through?" Marik asked, her eyes locked on the strange structure. Zora nodded. "The shield isn't blocking us, it's guiding us in, like it's expecting us." Marik's pulse quickened. "Then let's not keep it waiting." As the Vanguard drew closer to the beacon, a strange calm silence fell over the crew. The tension that had gripped them for so long seemed to ease, replaced by a sense of purpose. But Marik couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking into something far greater than themselves. Something that would test not only their strength, but their very understanding of the universe. "Prepare for boarding," Marik ordered, her voice steady. "We're going to find out what the Sentinels know, and we're going to stop the shadows." As the ship neared the beacon, the glow intensified, surrounding the Vanguard in its warm, steady light. For the first time in days, Marik allowed herself to hope. But deep in her gut, she knew this was only the beginning. The Vanguard drifted closer to the towering beacon, its ancient, alien structure casting a soft glow across the ship's hull. On the bridge, Captain Marik felt the calm, almost serene energy surrounding them. Yet she knew, deep down, that this moment was a prelude to something far more dangerous than the crew had ever encountered. "Captain," Zora's voice cut through the stillness, "we're within range of the beacon. I'm detecting a docking port on the far side. It looks like it's ready for us." Marik nodded. "Voss, Orlis, Zora, prepare the away team. We're going in. Tori, keep monitoring the perimeter. If there's even a hint of the shadows, alert us immediately." Tori's eyes were focused on her console. "Understood, Captain. So far, no sign of the anomaly, but I'll be watching." Marik gave her a reassuring nod before heading to the shuttle bay with the away team. The thought of what awaited them inside the beacon, whether it held salvation or their doom, pulsed in her mind. The shuttle descended toward the docking port, the beacon's light growing stronger with each passing second. As they approached, the structure seemed to shift, responding to their presence, as if welcoming them into its depths. "It's like it knows we're here," Voss said, his voice calm but wary. "Let's hope it's friendly," Orlis added with a wry smile, though her fingers tightened around her medical kit. The shuttle docked with a gentle thud, and the airlock cycled open with a soft hiss. The away team stepped out into the interior of the beacon, their senses immediately overwhelmed by the vastness of the space. The interior was massive, its walls lined with intricate, flowing designs that pulsed with energy. The light was warm, inviting, and the air felt strangely breathable. "This place is incredible," Zora whispered as her eyes darted from one glowing symbol to another. "The technology here is far more advanced than anything we've ever seen. It's almost organic." Focus, Marik said, though she couldn't deny the awe she felt standing inside such an ancient structure. We're here to find the Sentinels. Let's not lose sight of our mission. They moved deeper into the beacon, guided by the glowing patterns along the walls. The further they went, the stronger the sense of purpose Marik felt. Like they were being drawn towards something important, something that held the key to defeating the shadows. As they reached the core of the beacon, the space opened into a grand chamber. At its center stood a series of massive, crystalline structures, each pulsating with a soft, rhythmic light. And at the heart of the chamber, suspended in midair, was a figure, a being of light and energy, its form shifting and flowing like a river of stars. "Welcome, travelers," the being said, its voice echoing through the chamber. It was neither male nor female, but a harmonic blend of tones, soothing yet commanding. "You have come far to reach this place." Marik stepped forward, her heart racing. "Are you one of the Sentinels?" The being's form flickered slightly as it considered her question. "I am a fragment of the Sentinels. We are the custodians of this galaxy, placed here to guard against the ancient darkness that you know as the Shadows. They are not of this universe. They seek to consume, to extinguish all light." Voss stepped closer, his mechanical eyes glowing faintly as he scanned the entity. "The Shadows attacked the Odyssey and other ships. We barely escaped them ourselves. Can you help us stop them?" The Sentinel's light pulsed, and the chamber seemed to hum in response. "The Shadows are ancient, born from the void between galaxies. They feed on energy, life, and consciousness. They have waited in the darkness for eons, seeking to spread their influence. We, the Sentinels, were created to protect this galaxy from their return." Marik's mind raced. Then why now? Why are they coming back? What triggered their resurgence? The Sentinel's light dimmed momentarily, as if in sadness. "The galaxy's borders have been breached. Long ago, the Shadows were sealed away in the void, cut off from the energy they craved. But the barriers weakened as civilizations advanced. The technological leaps made by your kind and others have drawn their attention once more." Zora's eyes widened in realization. "The energy we've been using to explore deep space, it's like a beacon to them." "Precisely," the Sentinel replied. "The more your civilizations expand, the more you disrupt the void, and the more the Shadows hunger. But there is hope. That is why you were brought here, to learn how to defeat them." Marik took a deep breath. "What do we need to do?" The Sentinel drifted toward the crystalline structures, its form glowing brighter. "The Shadows can only be defeated by light, by energy that is pure, uncontaminated by the void. Here, in this beacon, lies the technology to create a weapon capable of dispersing their darkness. But it is not without cost." Marik's stomach tightened. "What cost?" "The weapon will require a tremendous amount of energy to activate," the Sentinel explained. "The energy must come from a living source, one who is willing to sacrifice themselves for the survival of the galaxy. It will be a final act, a selfless one, but it will drive the Shadows back into the void for many generations." A heavy silence fell over the room. Marik exchanged a glance with Voss and Orlis. The weight of the Sentinel's words was undeniable. Someone, one of them, would have to make the ultimate sacrifice. "Captain," Voss said quietly, stepping forward, "I am the logical choice. My life is already extended beyond natural limits. My hybrid nature could sustain the weapon's activation without the same suffering a fully organic being would endure." Marik's heart ached. "No, Voss, I can't ask you to do that." "It is not a question of asking," Voss replied, his voice calm. "This is my duty. I was designed for a purpose, to serve, to protect. This is how I fulfill that purpose." Before Marik could respond, the Sentinel spoke again. "The decision must be made soon. The Shadows are gathering. They sense the light of this beacon, and they will come for it." Marik looked around the chamber, her mind swirling with the enormity of what lay ahead. She knew Voss was right. His hybrid nature made him the best candidate. But the thought of losing him, after everything they had been through, was almost unbearable. "Voss," she began, but her voice faltered. Voss turned to face her, his eyes softening. "Captain, this is the only way. We cannot let the Shadows win. If we do nothing, the galaxy will fall into darkness. This is my choice." Marik swallowed hard, tears threatening to rise. She nodded slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you." Voss stepped into the center of the chamber, his form illuminated by the glow of the crystalline structures. The sentinel moved beside him, its light blending with his, as the chamber began to hum with energy. "It is time," the sentinel said. "The weapon will activate, and the shadows will be driven back. But remember, Captain Marik, the darkness will return one day. You and your kind must be ready." Voss turned to Marik one last time. "Goodbye, Captain. It has been an honor." Marik's throat tightened, but she held her composure. "The honor was mine, Voss." With that, the light surrounding Voss intensified, and the crystalline structures erupted with brilliant energy. The entire chamber pulsed with raw power, and in that moment, the beacon shone brighter than 1,000 suns. Outside, the Vanguard sensors detected the arrival of the shadows, dark, swirling masses closing in from all directions. But as the beacon's light exploded outward, the shadows recoiled, their forms dissipating into nothingness as the pure energy washed over them. The shadows were gone, driven back into the void from which they came. Back on the Vanguard, Marik stood on the bridge, watching as the beacon's light dimmed. The price had been paid, and the galaxy was safe, for now. The crew was silent, mourning the loss of Voss, but they knew his sacrifice had saved them all. Marik took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the future settle on her shoulders. "Captain," Tori said softly from her station, "the shadows are gone. We've received no further anomalies on the sensors." Marik nodded, her voice steady. "Set a course for home, Ensign. We've earned a moment of peace." As the Vanguard turned toward the distant stars, Marik closed her eyes, thinking of Voss and of the battles yet to come. The light had prevailed this time, but the darkness would always return, and when it did, they would be ready.